Hi! Welcome or welcome back to the channel. I'm so glad to have you here. I hope you're in the mood to see how writing my zero draft went, because that's what this video is. My current project is Project Goblin, which is actually a fae dragon romance adventure. And this video is just a little vlog on the ups and downs of how writing that zero draft went from kind of the beginning of December-ish to the beginning of January when I finished it. I had a blast filming this and writing this for the most part. And I hope it's fun for you as well. With that being said, let's hop back in time to the beginning of December. I'm hoping to finish the final draft of my very detailed outline for my current project by the end of the quarter. I am just about a third of the way done with it at the moment, and I've got about 13 writing days available to me before the 27th. I'm a heavy outliner, and I've been really influenced by Story by Robert McKee and the process that he calls the step outline, where you summarize a scene in about a sentence of what a character expects to happen and then what actually happens in that scene. And now I'm going through and I'm fleshing out and giving that step outline the treatment, as he calls it, which is where you flesh out the different beats that happen within the scene before actually writing it out. The first quarter of the book had a bunch of situations changing that I had never fleshed out whatsoever. They were really broad. So I feel like there was a lot of changing of situations that I really needed to put into practice in that first part. And now it's less the events and situations changing, and it's really more like I very much didn't explain them. And so it's kind of a different set of muscles in the brain. I'm wondering how this is gonna go. It's fine if I don't finish before the end of the quarter, right? But man, I'd love to. So we're gonna just keep trying. Let's get into it. I'm in the pickup line, and I just started looking at my chapters for sequence 4, what I have here. And this sucks. I think it's a strong sequence, and I'm excited about it, but literally there's 6 chapters, the way that I have it right now. And I already know I need to insert another chapter to deal with blah, blah, blah. And I also definitely need to switch around some point of view for what I had. And also each chapter is literally just like this thing, then this thing. And for a little bit of context, most of the other chapters for the other 27 chapters of the book have had a paragraph of stuff that is happening in it. So there's rather a lot that is not here. So I really like this certain format of how to lay out the chapter outline that I'm doing, because it includes all of the beats and then also a clear section for the different notes that I have. So I like that format, but then I was like, I also really want to be able to just read the whole detailed outline as if it was like, you know, like here's a really super rough draft of the novel the way I want it to be. And I just did a word count for how many words that detailed outline is for the first 27 chapters of the book. I'm calling it a detailed outline. This is probably what other people call like a zero draft, you know what I mean? Because there's more than 18,000 words. And I'm not even halfway through the book. So it's like on average about 6,000 words for each sequence. There's 8 sequences in the book. So, I mean, am I looking at having 48,000 words of an outline that's literally the length of most of my first drafts? So I think this is a zero draft. And that's kind of gratifying, because it is a lot of work. It is a lot of thinking. It is a lot of stuff. And so I think it's pretty valid that I've been feeling like, wow, this is a lot to do as much as I'm trying to do every single day. This is a little bit crazy, and I don't know if I can sustain this for the entire book, even though, yes, I'd like to be done with it by the end of the year. And I'm literally like zero dropping, so chill out. So anyways, I'm gonna get started on how I can fix this next section of the book. I went into my computer yesterday to start making my notes, and I had a different version of those chapters on the computer, so like I guess I just didn't print out whatever. I don't know what happened, but anyways, I'm in a much better spot than I thought I was. There are still a lot of things that I need to figure out that I just didn't. And I was like, oh, this process happens. What the hell is that process? And also, the love interest, the male lead, has a history with that process. And what is that history? So there's like a lot of thinking to do. So I'm gonna go inside. I printed out what I actually have, the most updated version of this sequence, and I'm gonna make my notes on that at the state forest, and we will try to figure out what this process is and get going. I just finished chapter 31, and that took a little bit over an hour, and there was a lot of fleshing out of like, how does this world work in this instance? And so it was just like very taxing on the brain. So it's been like an hour and a half, something like that. And I'm trying to get back into doing the next chapter. And so I decided I need to refill my creative well a little bit before I get back in there and use my brain so much. So I was going to read 2 chapters, verbally assess those chapters and see like what's going on with the chapter to kind of hype myself up and get myself back into trying to figure out my own chapter that we're good right now. We just had a really nice weekend. It's Monday now, and I just dropped off the kids. But we watched like 4 Christmas movies over the weekend and wrapped some presents, so that was really nice. Today, my goal is to finish the 2 chapters that will bring me to the midpoint of the story, so chapters 34 and 35. And chapter 34, I know that there's a problem that's going on there's going to be a resolution to it in chapter 35. But chapter 34 is supposed to be like, here's why that was able to happen. And why was it able to happen? So the specifics of how that is going to be able to reverse in the next chapter is going to require a lot of deep thought. And this is going to be a chapter where we get a lot more information, like backstory information, because of the nature of what's going on. And so I think it should be fun, but it does feel overwhelming. So we're going to go into the state forest and do some general brainstorming before actually starting. I'm starting to look at my 5th sequence, which is that first part of the 3rd quarter. There's 8 chapters there. I think a lot of the things in it are good, but there were a couple major issues that I need to figure out. The way I've been approaching this apparently zero draft, is I've been looking at each sequence and kind of asking myself, is there any overall issue that's not limited to a certain chapter that I need to answer? Just motivation during this part of the book, any plot holes or like world building that needs to be strengthened for this entire part of the book, and figuring that out, and then looking at each chapter. Okay, like as a chapter, what's going on with this? So it's that big picture, then progressively each specific chapter. That's been working really well. So we're gonna do some walking, and verbally brainstorm and just write out what are the actual questions I need answered overall in this segment and see where we can go. I'm feeling great about this whole first half of the book. I think this process has been really, really helpful, and I think it will be fun to write the actual first draft because of what I've done so far. And that's nice to be halfway through. I It is intimidating to think, man, there is still another half of the book to do. There's so much brain work. There's so much brain work. I'm halfway done with this fifth sequence. There's 4 more chapters to write. And there's a lot of motivation, clarification, and information being shared or withheld, clarification in this section. So those are kind of the big focal points for trying to pin down why is it that they're making this decision? How do we back that up? And what do they believe about these things at this time? So I feel like that's going really well, but I also feel like I'm getting too into the nitty gritty of the back and forth between them in these scenes without having a strong enough grasp on what the scene's endpoint is. So I want to go find my scene construction tools and just clarify that before working on these chapters. So I'm doing chapters 40, 41, and 42 today. I think the time management has been a little bit askew for the last couple days working on this fifth sequence because as I was looking through those scene construction flashcard things, I think I could have done what I did yesterday in a lot less time if I'd been looking at them, and I think it would have been better. There's 2 reminders, 2 takeaways. Number 1, first of all, is that I think just working on the 5th and 6th sequences, it's that 3rd quarter of the book, and that's the hardest part of the book for me historically, always. So just to expect it to take longer and to not be surprised that it isn't as fast to work on and it is harder to work on than any other part of the book. And also to just use the tools that I know help me. Like the reason I didn't get those cards out before is because I wasn't exactly sure where they were. And I was like, oh, I should just spend the time like putting the work in, right? Instead of like looking for where these cards might be. But it turns out they were really easy to find, and I think I could have saved a lot of time just by doing that. So anyways, live and learn. I just finished chapter 41. I was hoping to do that yesterday, but that didn't happen. I'm just kind of coming to grips with some sections are just going to take longer than I would like, and I guess that's the way it is right now. So, but I am hoping to also do 42 and 43, and that would just close out this 5th sequence, and that would be great. It's Friday. I really want to have fun, holiday fun on the weekend. I want to build gingerbread houses with the kids, so I really want to just be done with the writing and feel good today. So I'm taking a little bit of a break, and we're going to go to the store. We need to pick up some stuff to make gingerbread houses and just some other random things we need so that we don't need to get more food till after Christmas.
Thank you.
It's Monday. We had a great weekend. It was my birthday yesterday, so that was really nice. We built gingerbread houses. Mine fell apart immediately. That's fine. I don't care. We started watching Avatar: The Last Airbender, which obviously, like, my husband and I have watched, but with the kids. My husband and I finished wrapping the kids' presents, so that feels great. So we're just back at it today. It is just about 12 o'clock right now, and I've been working on summarizing my 6th sequence here, and that's been going really well. I had to insert a chapter which I haven't actually done, but I made my notes about why I think I need to have a chapter here and what's going to be in the chapter. So this is where things start like really buckling down. Things start happening. I think from here to the end of the book, it's maybe like 3 days. Whereas the first 5 sequences, it's been like 24 days or something like that. So, like, there's a lot of stuff happening. We're launching into it, which is very exciting. And I'm noticing that this section has a lot more to do with needing help with the world building, things that I had general ideas about, but didn't get into the specifics of how or why things would play out like this in this world, and actions that the characters are taking, how they can take those actions, and what any consequences of those actions are. So, those are kind of what I'm figuring out, more world building stuff. Whereas the last section was a lot more of that motivational. Why are they making these choices? Why are they choosing to share this information or withhold this information, and to who? And at what point is that going to change? And so, yeah, very, very different dynamic of what to focus on at this point. But yeah, having a lot of fun. Let's get back into it. Today is the kids' last day of school before their summer break, their winter vacation, and it's a half day. So I actually just got back from dropping them off. I'm gonna go get in the pickup line in about an hour and a half. So today I'm trying to do 2 chapters, 44 and 45. It also just started snowing a couple minutes ago, so that's pretty fun. Hopefully we will make Christmas cookies later. I softened the butter, but it's a disaster downstairs, so if we can make it fun to clean up, we will roll then into making Christmas cookies and then more cleanup. There's no way around cleaning. It's too bad. All right, but I have my tea and I'm going to sit down and get focused.
God, yeah, these are the Great.
Yesterday was Christmas. It was a really nice day. We stay home for Christmas Day. So we just do our family celebrating. It was really nice. And on the weekend, we'll go to my in law's house and we just kind of have sporadic family get togethers through November to January, usually. So we're back at it today. It's Friday. So I'm trying to do 2 chapters today, 48 and 49. And then I'm going to be taking a break on the weekend, anyways. And it's a little tricky because now the kids are home. And so it's a different dynamic to the day. Chapter 48 is going to be a little bit difficult because there's an action that the love interest is going to take that I know mechanically what it is, but I don't know specifically the steps of what it is, how he goes about it, the underlying reason he thinks that action is the correct one to take to get the outcome he's trying to get. So I have a bunch of notes on it. I need to go hunt for all the places that those notes are. So I'm going to find that stuff, do some general, like, verbal brainstorming. I'll probably erase the whiteboard and maybe just get some ideas on the whiteboard about what this action might be. If I can figure out how 48 goes, 49 will be a lot easier, supposedly, seemingly. So let's just jump into that and see how that goes. One of the big things I learned about myself this year is that I do really well with sustained momentum, and I do really badly when it's like stop and go. And right now we're in a season with the holidays where there's a lot of like stop, don't do any writing stuff. It's holiday things that are going on right now. And then go, there's one day where there's no holiday stuff. And then stop, there's 2 days where there's holiday stuff. It's like, I'm not the kind of person that does well with that. I'm very obsessive. So to stop and try to like, oh, enjoy the holidays, it's also just kind of like I'm done with the holidays. We have had so many days of holidays. It's about 3:30 in the afternoon and my husband's going to be home very soon, and I have not yet done any of my writing, and I really want to do my writing. So what I'm working on right now is my notes for the seventh sequence. I'm so close to the end, you guys. So I had made my notes on that whole section, and what I need to do now is type them up onto the computer, and then there are a few particular things that need further brainstorming before I actually go into the chapter outline. There's a certain situation that could use some brainstorming out, and then also the mechanics of another world building thing need a lot of thought. So we're gonna get the tea and see how we can get into that.
Maybe they'll unleash a crazy, amazing spirit attack on the Fire Nation. That's good too.
Happy New Year. I hope you had a great New Year's. We had a great one here. We just stay home. We don't stay up till midnight. We watched Avatar a bunch with the kids before bed and just had a very chill, relaxed day. With that being said, this whole week has been a little stressful for me. On the home front, it's been very nice, and there've been a lot of days where like my husband is home because of XYZ, and the kids are home. And what I had meant to be doing was finishing up summarizing the seventh sequence and figuring out some of the world building stuff. I was facing a lot of blocks. There was a lot of other things happening in the day that made it very difficult to concentrate, and it was just very difficult. But I had a breakthrough yesterday as we were watching Avatar, and I was walking on the treadmill, and I was kind of like doodling on the whiteboard some ideas of what had been going on and what I need to fix. And I think I really, really like what I came up with. So that's very exciting. And now it feels like I can actually get back in and start working on the chapters in the seventh sequence, which I had planned initially to be done with all 7 of those chapters today, and I haven't done any of them. So that's fine, that's how it goes. But I think I can actually do 3 chapters. We'll see. I had been doing 2 chapters a day for the last, like, it feels like forever because they've been such difficult things to figure out. But I feel like at this stage of the book, it was that world building thing that I really needed to figure out. That was a pivotal piece of what's going on. But I feel like I have a stronger idea for all of the chapters. So we'll see if we can pick up the pace. And I'll let you know. We're going to jump into it. Yesterday went so well. I needed that. The world building thing that had been taking so long to figure out this whole last week, I like the way it's going, and I was able to do 4 chapters yesterday. Guys, I've been struggling through 1 to 2 chapters a day for the whole third quarter. It's just like, oh my God. When I tell you the third quarter is always the hardest for me, like, woo, it's true. So I'm so excited, and I love the way that it came out. We're now barreling towards the climax, and it's so fun. It's something like 10 chapters left in the book, but like these are short chapters. They're less than 2,000 words each. So we're oh my God. I'm so excited. I was walking on the treadmill as I was writing like most of the chapters. And so I was like walking faster than normal, typing these fast paced scenes of just like, this is happening and then this happens and then this, and I'm just like walking, going, and it just like felt so incredible. The momentum. Ah, I really, really needed that. And today is Saturday. It's not a normal writing day for me, but my husband has work today as an unusual thing. And I have 3 chapters left of what I had hoped to be done with by yesterday. And I think I could just do them, and it would be so fun. So then I could just catch up and then just relax tomorrow. So we're going to try to do that. I am loving where the story is going. The next chapters coming up, it's 55, 56, and 57, which are going to close out this 7th sequence. And then it'll just be like, "Ooh, here comes the climax." So it's really, really fun. Chapter 55 is the first one I'm going to be working on today, and there's so much emotional payoff in it for the male love interest's character arc. Oh my gosh, I'm like so excited about it. Oh, it introduces some characters that are gonna go on to have their own books eventually. And oh, it's just so fun. 56 may be an issue. I'll have to see how that goes because I think I accidentally took some stuff that's supposed to happen in 56 and did it in 54. So we'll see how that goes. That may be retooled. And then 57, really fun. That's gonna be really fun. So, okay, I'm gonna get into it. We're excited, we're feeling good, we're motivated. What can we do? Holiday break is over. Kids are back in school. I just got back from dropping them off. It's like 9 in the morning. We're on track to be able to finish the zero draft by Friday. So, oh my gosh, that would be so exciting. So, today, what we're working on is that eighth sequence, looking at my notes, making any changes that I need to do on the large scale, and getting ready to start doing those chapters tomorrow. Let's get into it. It's like 2:15 right now. I need to get in the car to go get the kids, to be in the pickup line to get the kids. But I got 3 chapters done. We finished chapter 59. There are 63 chapters and then an epilogue. So the end is so close. It's so exciting. I really like the way it's coming together. There's definitely a lot of specifics that are getting fleshed out at this point of the way that the scene progresses and turns, where it was very general idea, here's what happens in the scene, very vague. And now it's like, okay, we begin like this, and then it turns in this way, and then there's this pinch point, and then here's the resolution to that, which leads to this problem, which throws us into here. So it's feeling really good. And I can't wait. I can't wait. But I'm so ready to be done. That was like 3 hours of work today. And it's just like, oh my God, using your brain so hard for 3 hours. I'm just like, I'm trying to build up the brain muscle to be able to do this for longer without it feeling so hard. We're on the journey, so that's fine. But I'm gonna go get the kids. I'm gonna go to the library and pick up. They have a craft book that I put on hold, so I'm gonna get that. And I'll check in with you tomorrow. I'm so sleepy today. I did do one chapter. I just have to do one more chapter and then I'll be done for today. And school was canceled because there's this like super slippery rain ice situation outside. It's almost 2 in the afternoon and I just opened up chapter 61 that I'm supposed to work on. I'm going to try to plug in and figure it out. I finished the zero draft last night in a funny, sort of anticlimactic, satisfying way while my kids were at karate. And I wanted to talk a little bit about that because it feels so good to be done with it. And I really like the way it came out. But it feels almost even better because of the fact that I wasn't trying to cram a lot of work into the day. I did it because I was choosing to make sure that I worked those 6 time blocks that is kind of my goal for every day that I have for writing. Because initially, what I thought would take 6 time blocks yesterday was doing 2 chapters because there was quite a lot I thought I had to flesh out and I thought it would just take a really long time to figure out. And I wasn't trying to like rush toward the finish line, even though there is a large part of me that in the past would have been like, let's go. Like, there's only 5 chapters left. Like, let's just do it today. And I was really consciously not doing that because I am trying to like make sure I give the work the time that it feels like it needs. And I finished those 2 chapters and it only took 3 time blocks. So there was a part of me that was tempted to be like, well, I only said I was going to do 2, so I may as well stop. But the reason that I didn't stop was because I had made a page in my journal about my why I want to be doing this as a career and taking it very seriously and prioritizing dedication to this as a career over motivation. And I was like, I don't feel like mentally I have to stop. I'm not hitting a creative wall right now. Even though I had been tired, I was still feeling like pretty good. And the kids were happy. They were watching K-pop Demon Hunters on the couch downstairs. And so it's like, there's no real reason why I shouldn't actually just do more. And I'm not going to have the goal of like, and I will now try to cram in as much as I can to finish. Let's just see how much can I do with the 3 other time blocks that I had promised myself that I would sit down and do daily. And the way things ended up, I finished the book in those 3 task blocks. So I'm just surprised and pleased. It felt very natural, which is kind of like that's the thing that I'm the most proud of, I think, about it, because I really in the past would have a tendency to like kind of stress myself out then and be like, nah, now I need to finish it because whatever reason in my head is going on. And I really didn't. I really gave myself that permission to be like, it's just whatever, this is the time amount I want to spend on it. And so that feels really healthy, which I'm really proud of. So that's my whole thing. So let's take a look at some stats. I'm feeling so good about how it went. Before we get into the stats, this is, I think, the 4th or 5th time that I've really thought through every single thing about this book, from the first draft of the outline that I did back in October, whatever it was, September maybe, now through to this 0 draft. Like, I've thought through the whole entire book 5 times, changing a lot of stuff. Even in this last go round, I still had some large things, world building things, plot things that I had not fleshed out, and those are looking really good now, and it has added a lot of depth to the story. And so yes, it's a 0 draft, but at the same time I kind of feel like it's kind of just like a 4th draft developmentally. That is just, I think, something really good for wherever I am on my writing journey. What I need, what I work well with. I'm so pumped up about it, and I'm so proud and excited. The other thing that was so exciting was that I had started this, I think, like December 1st, honestly. I'll go back and check my notes. If it was a different day, I'll put it on the screen, but I believe it was December 1st. And here we are, having gone through all the holiday season with the kids home from school for like, it was like 14 days or whatever. It was a long time, long time. It's January 8th now. I don't work on the weekends. So it was 27 writing days for me, working at about 6 time blocks per day, which is roughly 3 hours, sort of skewed more to 2.5. The total words for the 0 draft were 49,756 words, which is about almost exactly what I what my first drafts usually tend to be. And I really like, this is super not a first draft. It's a totally a 0 draft, by which I mean like it's very explanatory exposition in third person with no dialogue tags. So that's how what that came to. And staying at that level of working through very in-depth what's going on in the scene without getting worried about any prose. How does this sentence sound? What is this character actually literally saying? That really helped me to focus on the actual setup of the scene and how to make it work to do what I needed to do, which is what I wanted from this draft. Is I wanted to have a working story. So in the first draft, I'm really looking forward to actually putting it into a prose format. All the little fun surprises of characters and how they interact with each other and little quirks that come up through the writing, like I'm super excited to get into that and explore how that works. The way that I wrote the outline, I'll put it on the screen. You can see there's tons of notes underneath each scene, and when we're counting all of the notes along with the meat of the 0 draft, that comes to 75,081 words, which means that the notes alone were 25,325 words. And then I also had a separate document where I have just like bullet points for each sequence of the book, each part of the book. As I was writing, if I would realize, ooh, I don't know if I clarified that this happened, and I'm not going back to do that right now. So in the other document, I just put in that section, just clarify, make sure that people know this by this point in the story, or insert at this point that this character would have this knowledge, and so that would have come up in their interiority. Just some things like that. So those notes came to 2217 words, and that, I'm thinking those will be more helpful probably for second draft, because I think I'm just gonna run with what I have for the zero draft and write that into a prose version. So I guess that's all I have for you. I finished 2 days earlier than I had scheduled, and all of next week I'm planning to take off of any goal Kanban based writing, and just whatever, if I feel like writing, I will, whatever I want to write. But that's sort of my reward, is my week off. And I still have 2 days of writing left today where I would like to be honoring that commitment to myself and making my 6 time blocks of work. And so I'm super excited to have kind of like permission from myself to look at the last 3 books in this series. So, like, Project Goblin is the first book in a 5 book interconnected standalone series. And I have a lot of book 2 worked out, and there's a lot of questions I have for 3, 4, and 5. And so I'm really excited to just like open up a document and put down all of my, here's all the vibes that I know, here's all the backstory that I know, here's all the things about these stories that I already know that I really, really like. And then just see from there, what are the holes? Where do I need, what plot things need to be addressed? And just kind of dig into that and see where that takes me. So I'm so excited, and I'm gonna get started on that. I hope it was kind of interesting to see how this zero draft writing progressed. And if you've ever done a zero draft, definitely let me know what your process was, what like reasoning you had for calling it a zero draft. I'm so curious. I think there's so many good reasons to be conscious of what we label things as. Because if I was still calling the zero draft draft for of an outline like I had initially thought I was going to, I would be feeling a lot less accomplished. And anyways, whatever. I hope your holidays were great. I hope your new year was great. I hope your writing's going really well, and I will see you in the next video.